Hi, this is Glenn, SaltBrothers. Basically, this is the Bayeswater Dayticket swim review. As you can see, here we are in swim 1. The swim is being improved to allow quite a large area to put your bivvy up, as you can see there. This is basically where you fish from. Excuse the wind noise, but it's extremely windy today. Can't do anything about that. Basically, this is the water you have in swim 1. You've got a big bank of reeds on the left, all the way round to the edge of the island there. In front, don't know if you pick it up on the camera, but as really right round the lake, there's pretty thick weed that goes out about 15 to 20 feet. And the other problem that causes is that it's very shallow. The water level's down about a foot and a half, and it makes it very difficult to net fish with this weed making it so shallow. I really recommend you bring a pair of waders if you're going to be fishing Bayeswater after the summer. So you've got a reasonable stretch of water. It is shallower in this particular area that I'm showing you now, and then once you get out beyond the weed, it goes down to between 5 and 7 feet. The maximum depth with the water down at the minute of Bayeswater is round about 8 foot. If there's nobody fishing opposite in swims 11 and 12, then obviously you can cast a bit further out, but obviously when there are guys fishing over there, you're limited to coming in, much closer. Can produce fish. A couple of 30s have been pulled out of here. So that's swim 1, and obviously with the southwesterly it's blowing right into this bay here. Okay, let's move on to swim 2. Right, here we are at swim 2. Basically the area for bivvying is not as good as in swim 1. It's still a reasonable area, but it's a bit uneven. Nonetheless, you can get a bivvy on there. Reasonably close to swim 1, and basically you're fishing out of here. You've got a much slightly bigger area of water to fish at, because you could probably go halfway across, which is on the left here. You've got swim here, you've got swim 11, and over here you've got swim 10. So if they're coming out, then about halfway is your limit on here. As I said earlier, all around the edge of the lake you've got weed. Recommend you put waders on to land your fish. That basically is swim 2. More water to fish out than swim 1. Right, this is swim 3. Short distance from swim 2 there. Basically, this is your swimming from. Got a reasonable space between the trees to cast out. This is one of the most fish swims on the lake, and because of that, it does produce a lot of fish. I've had 8 20s out of this swim in the last 3 weeks, plus a few others as well. You've got a good casting distance. You can probably go out easily 70, 80 yards to the middle of the lake, and probably you've got a width of probably 60 to 70 yards to fish in. As I say, very popular swim, number 3, nearly always fished and producing a lot of fish. This is swim 4, nice big area for putting your bivvy up. Fishing out between the reeds here, again into open water. You can get a good distance, again 70, 80 yards out. The only problem with all these swims is if you're fishing 3 or 4 rods a piece, you are liable to get some cross lines when you've got a fish on. A good swim produces fish, particularly on a northerly wind, and sometimes on the back of a south-westerly wind, as we got today. That's swim 4. Right, this is swim 5. Again, nice big area. Put your bivvy up. Last winter they also put drainage in along this bank, right away along the bank. Here you can see one of the drainage pipes coming into the lake here, so it has improved the swim. It doesn't get as waterlogged as it used to be. This area, basically you've got to fish pretty well straight out towards swim 8 opposite. And you'll be limited as where you can fish, because on the bank here on the right there are 2 swims, and it's really a case of who gets here first, because if you're here in 5 you can go out, you know, close to halfway, and that puts then the guys fishing to the right here, they're very limited as to how far they can cast out. So it's a matter of who's here first really gets priority as to where they cast. I photographed a 34.6 common coming out of here last year at swim 5. Does produce fish, but it's not fished as often as swim 3, 8 or 10. So this is swim 5, Bayeswater. Well, this is swim 6. This is on the very narrow bank at the entrance to the lake. There's a car park behind us, so you've got this very narrow bank which really limits as to what sort of size bivvy you can put up on here. A small one-man tends to be used on this particular swim. You're basically looking right down the lake, which is great if nobody's fishing in swim 5 on the left and nobody's in swim 8, then basically you can go a reasonable way down the lake. But as I said before, if there's somebody fishing in 5, you may be limited to just casting 2 to 3 rods out. Again, weed very, very shallow here. You definitely need waders to land your fish in swim 6. Next to 6 is swim 7. Again on the narrow bank. Room for a small bivvy. Bang in the centre of the lake. Again limited to depending on where swims 8, 6 and 5 are fishing. You may be limited to going literally 3 or 4 rod lengths out. Extremely shallow. An angler, Ben, was down here Saturday night and he had a 17 and a 25.5 pound common out of here, fishing literally 3 or 4 rod lengths out, so can produce fish. That's swim 7. Well, this is swim 8 where I'm fishing at the minute. As you can see, I've got a large 2-man bivvy on the bank, no problem at all. Quite a good area to set up. I'm fishing 4 rods, which you're allowed to do here on Bayeswater. And swim 8 is the swim that gives you the most water to fish at. Basically, there's an area from underneath the wires here, where the seagulls are in the distance, and you can basically fish all the water you're seeing now around to about here, from close in up to halfway across the lake. So it's a large area of water. And this is swim 8, again extremely shallow. Here it goes out probably 20 feet, and again waders needed to net your fish at this time of year. Swim 8 is one of the most popular swims, like swim 3. Produces probably more fish than any other swim, again because it's always fished. There's always bait going in here, and the area down there underneath the wires is an area where the fish naturally seem to hold up. There you have swim 8. I'll show you the other side of swim 8, because here the notice is that you're basically, due to the pylons and the risk of overhead electric cables, you're not allowed to fish beyond this point. So you could put your rods in here, or I've got my rods in over there, and as I say, effectively where I'm fishing, if I just move to this area, you'll see the wires are directly above me. So fishing just down to the left of those wires from swim 8. Well, this is swim 9. Again, good area to set your bivvy up. You're fishing the corner of the lake, directly reeds in front, reeds to the right, and then a bank of reeds that go all the way down there. Where you see that cutting, right, let's see where it is, right here, that is swim 10. So that's about your distance for casting out. One of the advantages from this swim is you can get underneath the wires. You can't go beyond that because you'll be cutting across the lines from swim 8. But underneath the wires is a popular area for putting out fish. Richard, one of the anglers, had a 34-pound 8, I think, common from here just over 2 weeks ago. This is swim 9, as the rebay swim, effectively. Again, here, like everywhere, weed. Probably will need waders to land fish here. This is swim 9. Let's move on to... Right, here we have swim 10. Quite a good bank. Again, you get a large BV up here. In swim 10, you've got a reasonable expanse of open water in front of you. A good swim has produced a lot of fish, swim 10. As I say, swims 3, 8 and 10 are the most fished out of all the swims, and technically, I think because of that, they do produce more fish. You've got the wires just above, a short cast out, probably only 30-40 yards. And this is where my brothers had 2 30s out of this swim. The 35-7 and the 30-pound 7, both mirror carp. Nice view across the lake. There's car parking over there, and there are 2 portable toilet facilities. There's no running water, and there's no electric on the site. This is swim 10. Well, obviously next door, it's swim 11. Again, good bank for putting up your bivvy. This is where you cast out from. The reeds have grown tremendously. This used to be a very open swim, also known as the point, and you've now got a narrow opening which also restricts where you can cast out to. And across there you've got swims 1, 2 and 3. Most people cast out almost to where that first seagull is, and you've got a line slightly to the right of that. If you cast out from this side of the swim, you can get a little bit out towards the black coot there. But again, depends how far swims 1 and 2 are casting out. If this swim and 1 and 2, then obviously you can only cast out a maximum halfway across the water. Both 10 and 11s, again, very shallow. I really strongly recommend that you do use waders when you come down to fish this lake. Right next door is swim 12. Here it is, very wide bank, no problem bivvying here. Next to 10, 11, here's swim 12. Basically, you're fishing the channel. This is a channel that runs down into the back bay. I think you struggle to use 4 rods in this swim. 2 or 3 rods probably better. It's reasonably deep in the middle. There's quite a bit of weed at this time of year that runs through the channel, so bear that in mind if you're going to use pop-ups or chod rigs. This is swim 12, out towards the pylon and the headland there that comes out into the bay area. Swim 12. Right, this is the swim 13, the last but one. Again, good area for bivvying up. And this area is fishing the shallows. It's extremely shallow here. Maximum depth is around about 2'6". And during summer, warm days, the fish do lie up in here. When the fish are spawning, these 2 swims are closed off to protect the fish. It's extremely windy, obviously being so shallow, weedy, sorry. There's a hell of a lot of weed here. The weed, funnily enough, for landing a fish here is not too bad. You could land the fish directly into the swim. Again, you're limited to where you can cast, particularly if there's somebody next door. You can fish off the point there and basically look for... There are clear spots where the fish have naturally cleared the weed, and recommend you look for the clear spots there. That's swim 13. And the last swim on the lake is swim 14. Nice grassed area. You can see it's nicely grassed because basically very few people fish this. This is fishing right into the shallows. You've got a wide area for netting fish, putting your rods out. It can produce fish. One of the problems is the coots. There's 2 or 3 families of coots that live here, and they are prone to going down picking up your baits. Also, the gulls that are on the lake, if you use pop-ups, they're going to pick them up. Again, look for clear spots. There are some clear spots on this part of the lake, and it can produce fish. And then this effectively is, as you can see, this is from this area onwards, there's no fishing. This is a sanctuary area. And as I said, this swim and swim 13 next door, these swims will be closed off when the fish are spawning. So this is Bayeswater Dayticket Lake, just outside of Chelmsford. 14 swims. The weekends get really busy. Can be 13, 14 anglers on a Friday and Saturday night, even at this time of year. Midweek is pretty quiet. The best time to come down is a Sunday afternoon. Normally on a Sunday afternoon you can pretty well get any swim you want. Most people have gone home, and if you're able to, try and come down then, or if you can, get down very early Friday morning if you're doing a weekend. The day ticket prices are just for a single day. Daylight hours is £15 for 4 rods. A 24 hours is £25, with each additional day being £15. So a 2-day session is £40, a 3-day session is £55, and a 4-day session is £70. It's a good lake. Looking down the lake, it's a lake about 4.5 acres. It's got a head count of 250 to 300 carp in this lake, and the average weight is about 18 to 19 pounds. The last 11 fish I've had out of here have an average weight of over 20 pounds. So if you're looking for a day ticket water that can give you decent fish for a reasonable price, then suggest you visit Bayeswater. Please remember, you do have to pay £25 to get a gate key, which is a one-off fee. The key is yours for life, and basically you need that key to get into the lake. You can look on Bayeswater website and that'll give you details. You can pick up a key from Bevan Tackle in Chelmsford. Just have to take a photo or two and basically fill in the form, and they'll give you a key, and you can come straight down to fish. The lake is owned by Gary Bays, who's known as Mr. Nash Bait. Gary's a regular visitor on his own lakes, which is nice. He's always open to have a conversation and a chat, and readily available to give any help. The head bailiff is Steve Bugg. Cracking guy, one of the most helpful bailiffs I think you'll ever find. Comes down the lake 3 or 4 times a day, always willing to help you out. Try and get the wind behind me in case it's making too much noise. As I say, Steve's a cracking bloke. He'll sort you out, give you advice in each swim where you can fish, and also if you want recommendations for rigs or whatever, he's always open and to discuss things with you. So there you have it, Bayeswater Dayticket Lake. It's a cracking venue. Tight lines, guys.